You ready? You ready? All right. This time I'll call to order the Solano Community College Governing Board meeting of June 4th, 2025. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag, unfortunately. Where'd it go? Somebody stole the flag. Two flags. Okay, we'll just pretend. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. I have to do everything. Where's the flag? You know anything about this? Please call the roll. No.
President Honeychurch.
Here.
Trustee Cargo Reed. Trustee Kara. Trustee Wynn Greer. Trustee Thurston. Trustee Young. Trustee Boyce.
Here.
Student Trustee Veronica Rodriguez.
All right, thank you. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as printed.
Okay, that is moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. There are no comments from the members of the public. We'll move into closed session and reconvene the regular meeting at 7 o'clock.
Hey, Shreya, stick around for just 1 sec. Oh, you're stick. Okay, great. No. Okay, go for it.
So this time I'll reconvene the regular meeting. A report of action taken in closed session. There was no action taken in closed session. Now I will invite comments from members of the public. Are there any requests to speak?
I think we just lost her. Wanted to say, that we had our changing of our student trustees, and so just wanted to acknowledge Shreya, but she just walked out. I tried to kind of grab her to stick around, but I just wanted to say publicly that she's, an outstanding student trustee. She did exceptional work as our student trustee, and so this is her last meeting, and I really wanted to welcome our new student trustee, Ms. Rodriguez. So thank you very much. Welcome to the board.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome.
We will be inviting Shreya back to recognize her because of the transition. I believe in the past, the new students started later. The policy says June 1st is the transition date. And so I think if the student is away during the summer, they don't have to start, but the transition is the 1st.
All right, thank you. Next item is item 10, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed or removed. Time will be provided before the vote for clarification questions without removing an item from the consent agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve it?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. So moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item is item 11. There were no items removed from the consent agenda. We're on to 12. Non-consent agenda items, action items, the first of which is under Human Resources. Sal Abate is the presenter.
Good evening. Thank you, Trustee Honeychurch, members of the board. Tonight we have a resignation. I do have somebody in the audience that will be reading some very kind words from the department. I do want to acknowledge this person, Eric Visser, our athletic director for many years. Him and I have worked together on numerous situations, and he's always a very positive ray of light with a lot of energy and passion for our student athletes. So it is with sad but happy joy that we put this on the board agenda for Mr. Visser, and I would like to invite Allison Aubert, our assistant athletic director, up to read some comments from the department.
Hi, welcome. So thank you for your time, Dr. Butler and Board of Trustees, to allow me to recognize Eric Visser, our athletic director. On behalf of the Solano College Athletics, we extend our gratitude and congratulations to Eric Visser on his retirement after 11 years of leadership and service. From the moment Eric assumed the athletic director position, he brought a clear vision and dedication that transformed our athletic department. Under his guidance, Solano Athletics adopted rebranding, a new logo, a state-of-the-art professional athletics website that has become the primary gateway for recruits, families, and supporters to connect with our programs. Eric's commitment to our coaches and staff has been equally impactful. By instituting competitive compensation for our assistant coaches, he ensured Solano could attract and retain the very best coaches for our teams. Simultaneously, Eric restructured departmental budgets, allowing us to focus our energy on our core mission, developing student athletes both in their sport and in the classroom. He also institutionalized the 4 pillars of success: academic excellence, athletic achievement, good citizenship, and community engagement, which now serves as a guiding framework for every aspect of our department. These pillars have not only unified our mission, but have inspired student athletes to strive for balance and excellence in all areas of their lives. Under his watch, athletic venues across campus have been updated, safe, and are now something to be proud of. Our game live streaming and social media presence allows us to attract student athletes from our community. Eric championed the addition of beach volleyball and a new facility, and he has added the infrastructure of the athletic department that will allow us to continue to grow and offer more athletic opportunities. Eric, your leadership fostered a culture of excellence, innovation, and professionalism. You leave behind stronger programs, a stable infrastructure, and countless success stories of students' lives that you have touched. Thank you for 11 years of vision, hard work, and genuine care for every member of Solano Athletics family. Thank you on behalf of our athletics.
So is there a motion to approve the retirement from the board?
Regrettably, I'll make the motion to approve that retirement.
I'll second the motion.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the retirement of Eric Visser,
Gonna make one comment as well too.
of course.
I just wanted to thank Eric for his energy and excitement. You've been really engaged with the board in celebrations and to echo Allison's point that you're not a win at sports at all costs. You're a make difference in their lives and academics and the whole student first. And so you've been outstanding. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to make one comment. And he knows what I mean by that. Strong.
Thank you. So, all those in favor of approving the retirement of our athletic director, Eric Visser, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And congratulations. So motion passes. Thank you so much. Next item is Finance and Administration Vice President Susan Wheat. We'll talk about the tentative district budget.
Yes, thank you, President Honeychurch, members of the board. Wait for that to come on the screen. Awesome. This is the time that we review our tentative budget for the 25-26 fiscal year. This is tentative. It will be reviewed and adopted with changes in September. We'll come back with a presentation at our August 20th meeting and then have the public hearing and vote on September 30th for any changes. By having a tentative budget approved now, it allows us to be able to pay our employees, pay our vendors, and things of that nature starting July 1st. So if we look at, now I have to move my stuff around so I can see things. Right. So kind of wanted to go over the May revise a little bit with the board. The governor puts out the May revise towards the middle of May. This is a budget proposal for 25-26 from the state. There's a lot of legislation that comes after the fact, but this is what he proposed. Some of the budget adjustments from the January proposal is to actually fully fund our student-centered funding formula. As of right now, there is an approximately 7% deficit factor for 24-25, which means that there wasn't enough funds in the bucket of money that the state had to pay all of the colleges for all of the enrollment and success that they had. He's looking at actually fully funding that in the 25-26 year. He's also looking at increasing our growth adjustment. In the past, we've had a 0.5% allotment for growth, meaning that if we grew more than 0.5% in our student enrollment, that we wouldn't get any funding for that. He is proposing that percentage increase to 2.35%, which is a huge increase for us and something that we'll take. There is also a cost of living adjustment, or a COLA. It was proposed at 2.43% in January. It's been reduced down to 2.3%. And that's for the student-centered funding formula and some of the categorical funding as well. But they don't mention which categorical funds as of yet. In order to pay for all of this, there's some other adjustments that will happen. In the new year, they're looking at deferrals. Normally we get paid in increments over the course of the year. They're looking at deferring next May and June payments to July, so it hits a new fiscal year, assuming that they have money in the new year. They are looking to completely use all of the rainy day funds, so if there are issues in the future years, we won't have that available to us. There's some other planning sources that are actually being reduced from that January proposal. Doesn't mean that they weren't being funded, but they're being funded at a lower rate. Some of that is our common ERP system for the state. They're reducing that one, reducing the common cloud data platform, our career passport, and credit for prior learning, and our rising scholars. All of these are still getting funded. They're just getting funded at a lower amount is what his proposal is. This is where I want you to stop and remember what I present for our tentative budget is always worst case scenario. Everything that we just discussed in the May revise, I do not put into that tentative budget because I want to see the state budget come out before we actually put that into our adopted budget. So this is worst case scenario, and when you see this, that is definitely worse, and that's definitely bad. But I always want to present that worst case scenario as we move forward. So revenues, for our adopted budget, you'll see 3 columns typically in all of the presentation throughout this. You have the 24-25 adopted budget. That's what we approved last September. Where we're estimating to end this year, those numbers will change as we finish out the year, and then our tentative budget for next year. So you can see we plan to have about $68 million for this year. We're coming in at about 63.6, and that's because of that approximately 7% deficit factor. With the May revise and the promise of it being fully funded, we're hoping that that goes back up in the new year. But with our tentative budget, we're basing it just on what the Chancellor's Office is providing to us as the goal and what we're projected for next year. I always project conservatively, so even though we get paid on the current year student enrollment in our FTES, I do it as a flat rate, meaning that I don't increase our enrollment. I don't increase that dollar figure. I always keep it even keel. And if we have growth, we have growth, and that's just that much better. For our expenses, zoom that in a little bit more. Absolutely.
But the tentative, which is the worst case or the best case?
That is the worst case. It's because of the deficit factor.
69.
Yeah, that deficit factor, they basically promise us the money and then they take it back. When I do the adopted budget, I'm going to start putting in an estimated deficit factor for us to kind of plan for that a little bit better. so that we don't have as big of a jump. But yeah, that's what that's from.
Okay, so the word tentative is what's being promised, not necessarily tentative, meaning what we are thinking is going to happen.
It's the lowest of what we think it's going to be, actually.
It's the lowest, but it's higher than the adopted.
It is because of the deficit factor, meaning that they took money away. So they told us we were going to get 68,
This was last
Yeah.
and they're actually giving us 63.
So this is
25, 26. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So in our expenses, we're looking at, our salaries and benefits are coming in pretty much on the mark from our adopted budget estimated for the end of the year. Those shouldn't change too much as we finish out this year. Our tentative budget is about a 6% increase between the salaries and benefits. A lot of that is on the benefits side is because our increased cost in healthcare. Salaries as our employees step up on the salary schedule. We account for that and any known needs that we're going to have for this year. So the other major differences you'll see here are our supplies and materials you'll see dropped from our adopted budget of last year. Our faculty and our staff are really good about being conscientious buyers and purchasers of what's actually needed. That 1.1 adopted budget, you can see we actually only estimating to spend about $645,000 for the new year. We're planning a little more accordingly, so we have a better number there. Services and other operating expenses are right on mark on what we're estimating to end this year at. Not too much difference there. Our capital outlay, we didn't spend as much on anything over $5,000 for big equipment, so that's why it came in lower. But we have planned purchases for next year, so we're still doing about $257,000 there. Our other outgo, you'll see our adopted budget was $320,000, and we're estimating zero for next year. That is we typically contribute into our other post-employment benefits, into our trust. I'm recommending that we don't contribute that this year and next year. We're right about 78% funded, so we're at a good spot. So I think we'd be okay without doing that. We also always put in a contingency appropriation, which means that that little extra kind of, buffer in there for that 250 is taken out at the estimated because we didn't use it. It's always just put in there as a budgetary item. And then this is the scary part that I promised you. Our ending fund balance. So worst case scenario, we're going to end, let me actually go back up one page and scroll down a little bit. I didn't put it on here, sorry. Worst case scenario, we're going to end this year at about $8.7 million deficit with that deficit factor planned in there. And next year we're looking at about $6.5 million deficit. Again, worst case scenario. I anticipate that our year end for this year will come in on a little bit less of a deficit, and our next year, should everything in the May revise come in, will be about half that. And we're at 1.8 million of that is a planned deficit spend for those salary improvements that we gave in 22-23 that we're allocating over 5 years. We still have a technology non-capital expense reserve. When we're getting that whenever we have a surplus, we put into that. Nothing's put in when we have a deficit. We have our STRS and PERS premium reserve, and then the other designated reserve for our OPEB liability that's not in the trust. Those funds can be used should we need them. I'm not recommending that we put them in the budget at this time, but know that we have that safety barrier there with that. Worst case scenario, if we, if all of this came to light, if the May revise, the state said, nope, we're not getting any of that, we're still looking at a required instability reserve ratio at about 11.8%. It's lower than where we would like it to be, but that doesn't take into consideration those stirs and purrs and the OPEB liability reserve that's in there that's kind of our buffer. I really think that if the May revise goes as planned, should it go as planned, that required reserve will be closer to 22%, which is where we want it to be. So I'm hopeful with next year. It's the following years after that are a little scarier. The governor is proposing ongoing funds using one-time fund expenses, so that's always a little scary. The rest of the presentation is our other funds, and in your booklet that you have, it spells them out and it breaks them down a lot more, but this kind of gives you just an overview and outlook for those other funds. Our categorical funds change dramatically between the tentative budget and the adopted budget as we close out the year, as we learn what the new allocations would be. So there's going to be a lot of changes, which is why I don't focus too much on them in our tentative budget, other than to have that outlook and then present it in the booklet. Our budget timeline, tentative budgets tonight. The state budget approval is between June 15th and July 1st. And again, we'll present the adopted budget proposal on August 20th, and then the public hearing and the adoption on September 3rd. Any questions? It's ugly. It won't be so bad in September, I'm hoping. But we're positioned in a really good position. We've been really conservative, really diligent with what we spend, that we're able to ride these type of years out. So I'm confident that we'll continue to do that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you so much, VP Wheat, for the presentation. My question is, so the state is expecting or anticipating a multi-year budget deficit. You've given us 2 years of deficit here. Worst case scenario. Should it be the case where, what if it's more than 2 years in terms of a deficit for us? How do we move forward? And also my second question is the other outgo there where there isn't any money that you recommended. I do appreciate the fiscal conservativeness on your side, but does that affect in regards to recruitment for future employees? Because when I heard that, I was thinking like, benefits, and if I was looking to transition from one position, from one, let's say from one community college to another, I'm looking at different benefits in terms of, pursuing besides just salary. So would that be a hindrance at all?
I'm going to answer both questions for you. So let me go to the first question, the multi-year outlook. I typically do a multi-year outlook in the tentative budget presentation. I did not do that this year because of the uncertainty that we've kind of seen this springtime, and with what the state budget's going to do. I plan on putting a multi-year outlook when I do the adopted budget, so we can look out 5 years. I'm very conservative on those outlooks, so we'll have a better sense once that state budget is approved, and we have a better sense of what they're looking at, and I'll present that in September or in August. As far as the OPEB liability contribution, that's for our retirees. We are, like I said, about 78% funded on that, meaning that if we had to pay out everything at one time, we'd be able to pay out about 78% of it. That doesn't have anything to do with our health benefits for our current employees. That's for retiree medical benefits that we have. We do a actuarial every year to make sure where we're at. I'm confident with what we have that we're still in good shape, especially considering where other colleges are at and what they're doing. We have not had to pay anything out of that fund. We just contribute to it, so it just keeps growing. Other colleges may contribute to it, but then take out for those retiree benefits. We don't do that. We just pay it out of our general fund. So I'm really confident there. The fact that we are 78% funded is actually a good drawing point for employees who are coming in to make sure that we can take care of them when they retire.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that clarity in regards to that. I think maybe perhaps a big kudos goes to previous leadership here for the community college for having the foresight to basically save money and be conservative for years like this when we're looking at deficits. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Go ahead.
Any other questions?
Are there any questions?
So I'll just echo my appreciation and privilege that I get to be on a board that is looking at a positive number in our reserve in general and a 78% OPEB liability. That is much better than many community colleges who are in crisis right now. So
And
regularly
just, I
Thank you.
talked about the deferrals. We are in a good cash flow basis too, that shouldn't hinder us as well.
All right. So thanks very much for your
You're welcome.
report. And I think Trustee Boyce is right, and the others that have spoken on this, and that is that we did address the retirees' health benefit situation years ago, and we were encouraged to pay that down, which we have been doing. So, good job, whoever that was. I have an idea. So, does that complete your report?
That completes my
Thanks,
report. Thank
thanks
you.
again. Good. The next we'll move on to,
We do need to vote on it though, so that we can
oh yeah,
start
we
paying our.
need to have a motion on setting the time and place for the public hearing.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is item C. It's on the bond. It's presented by Vice President Lucky Lofton on Zoom.
Thank you, President Hattie Church, members of the board. This particular item is a no-cost time extension. We request the board's approval for this contract amendment.
So this is a contract amendment to ADIS Architects for Architectural Services. Is there a motion to approve it?
I move we approve it.
I second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is also yours, Vice President Lofton, which is a contract amendment to HMR Architects.
Yes, this is a small contract amendment for time extension and cost to cover that extension. We request the board's approval.
I move for approval.
So it's moved and seconded to approve this contract amendment number 3 to HMR Architects. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next is a contract amendment to Tier Incorporated, GYR, for Project Inspection Services. Vice President Lofton?
This is a time extension due to delays on the project. It is a no-cost time extension.
So
The best kind, huh?
entertain a motion to approve this contract amendment.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The next item is a change order to Ruthlia for the campus-wide interior refresh. Vice President Lofton?
Thank you. Thank you again. This is again a no-cost time extension. We are required to bring our contract change orders to the board even when they're no cost. This is just a time extension due to delays in the project.
All right, is there a motion to approve this item? Moved and seconded by Trustee Boyce. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The next item is also Vice President Lofton. It's a network hardware and supporting services to Digital Scepter for the IT infrastructure improvements project. Tell us about
Thank
this.
you, President Honeychurch. I'm going to defer to Vice President Cornelison as this is an IT purchase using bond funds.
Thank you, Vice President, and thank you, members of the board and President Honeychurch. Yes, so Digital Scepter is a reseller. This purchase that we're asking for approval is to replace our district-wide firewalls. So it's quite an investment, as you can see, but this is for 2 firewalls here on campus. They're going to be set up in a redundant situation. So just for context, all traffic in and out of the college goes through these firewalls. And so the old saying, 2 is 1, 1 is none, really applies, because if one firewall fails for some reason, there is no connectivity, and we really can't function as a college without internet connectivity. So we always looked at doing redundant type situations. Well, that comes at a cost. So here on campus, we're going to have 2 Palo Alto firewalls. That's what this reseller is selling. And then at each center in Vallejo and Vacaville, we're going to have a single firewall. This also is for 5 years of licensing and support and complete implementation of our firewalls. Currently, we have in play right now, right? So we have Palo Alto firewalls right now. Were purchased in 2018. And so we're coming up to replace these. We have to take all that configuration work and move them over very carefully. And so we have the vendor do that. So this is a turnkey solution to pay for all of that.
Thank you. Other questions? And
The 2 firewalls are at Fairfield, and then 1 firewall is in Vacaville and 1 in Vallejo.
Correct.
But you said the reason we had the 2 firewalls in Vallejo and in Fairfield is because when one fails, then we'd lose contact, whatever. Thank you.
Correct. Connectivity. Yes.
So does that mean that if the firewall fails in Vacaville and in Vallejo, those campuses lose?
So there is some risk there with that, but for a cost savings, this is the approach we're taking. What makes Fairfield special, our main outbound internet connections are here. So we have 2 through what's called Scenic. And so this, like the Vallejo and the Vacaville centers connect through us to that, right? Through those outbound connections. And so we need the redundancy here. Otherwise, for Vacaville and Vallejo, we have basically a warranty service where we can get parts within 2 to 4 hours. So we're willing to tolerate that risk for the 2 centers and save costs on the main purchase.
Okay. And how much do we save?
I'd have to get back to you on that specifically.
Is it a lot? We're hoping that Vacaville and, Vallejo and Vacaville are 2 important campuses, and I'm just wondering about whether that, like Vacaville is quite the important one for us at the moment.
Absolutely, right? So Palo Alto firewalls are really solid hardware. So in IT, you look at uptime kind of guarantees like 99.99% uptime, 99.99959s. The Palo Altos kind of deliver that. What's another benefit of having redundant firewalls at our main campus is when we need to do upgrades, we can deploy the upgrades to one firewall, test it, and then roll over to the other firewall after that's been tested. So that redundant pair, that it's called a high availability pair, that provides that. We don't need that capability at the centers.
Okay.
It's just, it's cost prohibitive to have that overall. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
thank you. So is there a motion to approve the network hardware supporting services?
I'll make a motion to approve item 12G.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item 12G, the network hardware supporting services. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is academic affairs. Vice President David Williams will be the presenter, and it's the first amendment to student experiences agreement with Sutter Facilities.
Thank you, President Honeychurch and members of the board. We already have clinical agreements with Sutter to provide experiences for our nursing students. This is simply a change in wording that Sutter is requesting, changing the facility, the reference to the hospital from hospital foundation to facilities. which basically opens up other facilities and recognizes other facilities that the nursing students might rotate to. On the list, you'll see facilities that are way outside of our service area. This doesn't mean we're going to go to those. Those are just included in the Sutter network.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve this agreement with Sutter?
Can I ask a question, President Honeychurch?
Of course.
Obviously, these changes is just a benefit for us then, is that correct then? VP Williams, sir?
It doesn't change anything on our end. It's just Sutter changing their wording in their agreement from just giving a different name to the host facility.
Okay, thank you.
Doesn't affect us at all.
Right.
Thank you for the
Again,
clarification.
I couldn't give you that.
Oh, thank you for the clarification.
sure.
Thank you, President
So is
Honeychurch.
there a motion to approve it? Approve the First Amendment to, so
I second.
it's moved and seconded to approve 12H, which is the First Amendment to Student Services Agreement or Student Experience Agreement with Sutter. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is a resolution recognizing Women's Veterans Day. It's going to be presented by our Superintendent President, Dr. Butler, speaking in or taking over for our missing trustee, Cargo Reed.
So first, I have to apologize because yes, I don't think it's in your copy. I made changes to add the new student trustee and it wasn't in that draft. So it is in the draft that's posted. And I believe the draft that you all received, yes. So it is a resolution that Trustee Cargo Reed brought before the board, I believe in 2018, maybe before, and she wanted to make sure that it was brought to the board again to celebrate on June 12th to recognize women who have been in service to our military.
So is there a motion to approve the resolution recognizing Women's Veterans Day?
Yeah.
It's not easy for me because I don't even have it in my,
I can read it. I can read it. Yes.
Would you like the motion first?
there needs to be a motion, yeah.
I second the motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, so if you, I don't know how you're going to read that.
I can read it. Whereas on June 12th, 1948, President Harry S. Truman signed the Women's Armed Services Integration Act, authorizing women to serve as permanent regular members of the United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and newly formed Air Force. And whereas the act laid the foundation for nearly 2 million women who have since served, and whereas Solano Community College has served all veterans, active duty personnel, reservists, National Guard members, and their families since 1964, opened courses at Travis Air Force Base in 1975, and in 2019 became the first Purple Heart Community College on the West Coast. And whereas SCC's Veterans Resource Center offers comprehensive resources, including academic counseling, priority registration, assistance with accessing VA educational benefits, health and wellness support, and guidance to ensure student success. And whereas recognition of Women's Veterans Day aligns with SCC's mission to foster an inclusive learning environment and affirms the courage, leadership, and sacrifice of women who have defended our freedom from the Revolutionary War to current day. Now therefore be it resolved that the Solano Community College District Governing Board hereby proclaim Thursday, June 12th, 2025 as Women's Veterans Day throughout the Solano Community College District.
Thank you, and thank you for reading that, the resolution. So please call the roll.
Aye.
President Honeychurch.
Aye.
Trustee Kara.
Aye.
Trustee Cargo Reed. Trustee Nguyen Greer.
Aye.
Trustee Thurston.
Aye.
Trustee Young. Student trustee Veronica Rodriguez. Aye. Thank you.
So the ayes have it. Resolution is approved. So, thank you, everyone.
I have
So-
a question. Do we have a number of how many women veteran students are here at Solano? Thank you.
We'll find out later. So we'll move on now to item 13, which is the board study session, and it's a presentation by our retiring director of athletics, Eric Visser, Building the Future, Advancing the Solano College Athletics 4 Pillars of Success with a Vision for Growth and Inclusion.
Really?
Brad, it's on.
Okay. President Honeychurch, President Butler, and remaining board members, hello.
Hello.
Great to see everybody. You had a chance to decline my retirement. So since you unanimously approved it, I'm going to leave the word to Alison Albert to do the presentation.
Good try.
Good try, right? I thought, a couple months ago when I made a decision that it was time for me and probably for the department to get a new voice, some different ideas. I thought it would be really nice, since there are a lot of new board members, to kind of give an update of what we have been doing the last decade in athletics and just shed some insight of what we're doing, what we're going to be doing in the future, what the department will be doing in the future. Ms. Albert will do that because I will not be part, of that future. But the 11 years here at Solano have been a really tremendous experience. I retired already 11 years ago from the University of San Francisco. I had a 32-year career at the University of San Francisco. And I really, really never thought I would have a beautiful chapter at Solano College. And the number one thing that it really taught me, the incredible value and the importance of community college in our society, the role that it plays. And it was really an educational piece for me for the last 10 years to see the difference that all of us make in the lives of young men and women that most of the time don't know what they are going to be doing yet with their lives. So it has been really truly a very nice experience. What I thought, and my colleagues here, by the way, have an over and under that I'll do it within 20 minutes. I have the reputation to be a little bit elaborate, and I'm already at 2 minutes. But I think especially for the newer board members, when they hear the 4 pillars of success, what actually is that? Because as Alison said already, she stole most of my thunder in that beautifully crafted tribute. Those 4 pillars really have been our guiding principles for our athletic department. In many times when you read about athletics, it's all about winning at all costs, right? We try to lead with our 4 pillars where actually you don't see athletic excellence at the top. You see, number 1, you see academic excellence. So we were able to codify these 4 pillars, so whoever is going to come after me, hopefully will continue this tradition of our 4 principles, which are guiding light. So, number 1, academic excellence, achieving strong academic performance as demonstrated through GPA, completion of an AA degree or certificate, and or preparation for successful transfer to a 4-year institution. So that's how we quantify and measure our academic success of our athletes as part of our 4 pillars. Secondly, athletic excellence. Again, it's not a winning at all cost environment, unlike the Division I, and you read about other institutions, the NIL monies, the transfer portals. We don't have a transfer portal in community college yet, but the way I wanted to kind of phrase what is athletic excellence? Striving to reach your full potential as a student athlete by giving maximum effort in both practices and competition while contributing positively to team performance and culture. So for me, when I go watch a practice session or go watch a game, and I see our teams actually striving to reach their full potential on a daily basis, To me, that is athletic excellence, not the wins and losses in itself. The third one is really something really dear to my heart. It's good citizenship. And the way I think I try to kind of sum it up, what is good citizenship? This for us in athletics is good citizenship. Exemplifying respectful behavior and integrity by treating all individuals with dignity, regardless of their race, gender, creed, or political religious affiliation. And actively, we promote a very inclusive environment. So this is something really dear to my heart, and I'm really proud that on a daily basis we try to walk the walk and talk the talk. And then the community service. We are part of a community. I keep emphasizing to our student athletes, you're blessed with healthy mind. You're blessed with physical attributes. There's a lot of people in our community that are not blessed with those attributes. Go out there and share our blessings with the rest of our community. So those are really our guiding principles. I quickly, because again, I know that Elsa,
We're good.
We're good? All right. I will go quickly to the 4 pillars. I just want to make sure that everybody here understands what are our 4 pillars and what are our guiding principles. So the academic excellence piece, I'm really proud of, because on campus, whenever I talk to leadership or colleagues, I talk about athletics as an academic community. We are an academic learning community. And how are we establishing that first pillar of academic success? It's really a unique collaboration of, number one, our coaches and faculty that are very well versed. We have a designated athletic counselor. Then we have an innovative academic mentor program where we have assistant coaches that in many ways have a master's degree. They mentor on a weekly basis our student athletes in the sport, how to get a library book, how to apply for financial aid, how should I be visible to a professor and not upset a professor. So all the learning skills of a young man or woman, we incorporate that with our academic mentors. And then finally, we collaborate very closely with the ASTC. Just a quick sample here. This is a recent picture here. You see Dr. Butler, Dr. Williams, and this picture, and our baseball team. So in the fall of 2024, 79 student athletes received the Athletic Director Award, which means they completed at least 12 units, a full load with a 3.0 or above. 21 of our student athletes earned a straight A, 4.0, and our athletics department GPA overall was at 3.26 for the fall. So I think that is pretty good. Oh, I go the wrong way. Our research department provided me with some data. I just don't want to hear like you guys kind of making up data to look good. So I went to our research and planning department and I asked for some data. Can you compare how our student athletes are doing? David, did I do okay? To the general student body? So these are some data right after the pandemic, just comparing GPAs. And as you can see, the departmental athletic GPA compares favorably, to our regular students. Obviously, there's always mitigating factors. There's work commitments, there are other commitments, but I think this is very nice for you to see that these kids go to class and get good grades. In addition to this chart, I was told to cut down the presentation by about 12 PowerPoints. So for the sake of time, I also have a chart where the average completion per units for student athletes, it's almost like 16, 17 units per semester, compares favorably to the regular students. Also because student athletes are required to be enrolled full-time to participate. So obviously that is a factor. We also have slides on success rates. How do our student athletes rate success rate in math and in English compared to our regular students? That compares very favorably. And then, as I mentioned, our completion, our transferability to the four-year institution compares very favorably. So I think our academic excellence and our pillar, I'm extremely proud of. All right, quickly, this chart is since the pandemic. You can see here, this is one of our favorite days of the year. We do a signing ceremony. These are the young men and women signed a scholarship to the four-year institutions. So this is the list of all the young men and women that represented Solano College athletics since 2021 that were able to transfer to a four-year school and get a scholarship. So this is a very robust, list and something that obviously we're very proud of. Quickly, I talked about athletic excellence, and what this chart quickly shows is in the various sports, you see BVC. BVC is the Bay Valley Conference. That's the conference that we compete in. And then CCA playoffs is the Community College Athletic Association. You make it to the state playoffs. So in a chart, the volleyball, women's basketball, baseball, women's soccer, I put like what were kind of records, what was the placement in the conference, and when did a particular team qualify for the CCA playoffs. So I think, again, that's pretty robust. I don't want to single out any team, but volleyball was pretty good. You look at 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25. They won the CCA first. And you look at records of playoffs, they actually make the third round of the state playoffs. So all teams did great. I must give extra kudos to our volleyball program. Everybody's good about that, right? Okay. All right. Two other programs at the spring that competed very effectively. In 2015 and 16, we added men's and women's tennis. And in May, they go to their state representation in Ojai. And we were represented by a record of 8 players. A beautiful picture there. 8 of our players made it to state championships in Ojai. So that's a beautiful representation. And again, our swim team did excellent at the CVC championships in Clovis. And unanimously, each swimmer improved. So from the day they jumped in the pool in the fall till actually the championships, they all improved. And to me, that's excellence too, when they all improved on their time. How are we doing? Oh, what do you mean, from the 20?
7 minutes.
All right, quickly. I talked, good citizenship is really dear to my heart, right? Doing the right thing, behave like normal human beings, treat everybody nicely. So we do this with the start of our student athlete orientation. We already set the tone. Good behavior. And then we do series of workshops. Our good friend Brian Bedford, we have been collaborating for the last 3 years on some innovative workshops for our captains, for our coaches, how to embrace diversity, leadership, workshop for team captains. So we have been actively providing workshops for our student athletes and for our coaches to continuously harp on just do normal, be a good human being. All right. Just an example, 2 of our great student athletes, Samantha Brown and Kyla Mahoney. You can see Samantha Brown, 2 AA degrees in biology and chemistry with a 3.95. Kyla Mahoney, a standout nursing major with a perfect 4.0. These 2 young ladies were among 22 outstanding student athletes at the state convention. They were recognized for their 4 pillars. So something to be extremely proud of. This was in New York in 2022. Connor Art was the only community college student athlete in the whole country that won this award, because for the rest of us, Division 1, 2, 3, Solano College was the only community college in the whole country that had a student athlete that received the Arthur Ashe Leadership and Sportsmanship Award. So I think, again, something that we all should be very proud of. Some community service, since I'm running out of time. I was going to turn it over for a vision to...
I got 5 minutes. Yeah, we're good.
We're good?
All right, so...
Give me 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute for you.
So I told her I was going to do this slide, and then pass it on. So with this, I hope I gave you a little bit of insight update on our 4 pillars. So again, I had a wonderful chapter, and I hope that the next athletics leadership, they will embrace and continue to embrace the 4 pillars, and will add new excitement. I think there's a wonderful foundation to grow and move forward, and how that's going to look like, that growth, is Assistant AD Allison Albert.
That's up to me.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we just completed a program review recently, and so we want to give you some vision that we see for the future of athletics. So these are our current intercollegiate sports that we offer here at Solano College. So we have in the fall, we have women's soccer and volleyball. In the winter, we have men's and women's basketball. And then in the spring, we have men's and women's swimming and diving, men's and women's tennis, softball, baseball, and newly added beach volleyball. So that's our current situation. So we want to look at program growth, and one of the first things when we look at program growth is that we need to take into consideration the Title IX requirements of our programs. And so currently, there are 3 prongs in Title IX that we are responsible to adhere to. We are currently in the 3 prongs, hoping and striving for prong 1, which is meeting the percentage of male and female athletes that match the enrollment of our college. So our current enrollment for males and females is approximately 60% women and 40% men. So we would like to mirror that, and that's always our goal. Prong 2 is another option, and that is, has the institution shown a history and continued practice of expanding athletic programs for women who are underrepresented group? We did add beach, so that did address that. And then is the institution meeting the demand and potential of new opportunities for female athletes? So these are the 3 prongs of Title IX that we're required to adhere to and apply with. So program growth considerations. Obviously, fiscally responsible, there are a lot of things that we can do with our existing facilities and with some of the programs that are large in the area that we can identify. Obviously, we want to look at the FTES and the student participation available to us if we add these programs, the student interest in the area, what our local high schools and club participation, and clubs are huge now. A lot of the student athletes are choosing to do club format, even over high school formats. Our Napa Solano agreement, and what that is Napa College and Solano College have an athletic agreement. And basically what it means is if we offer a sport that they do not offer, an example would be tennis, men's and women's tennis, is the Napa College students can participate here at Solano, still take their courses at Napa College, and it's been a great relationship, and we have several sports that we offer that they don't, and they offer that we don't. Existing facilities is huge. When I started here 33 years ago, we had facilities that looked like a junior high, and they now look collegiate, and they're impressive, and they're wonderful to recruit student athletes for. So we want to use these facilities. We've invested money in these facilities, and we want them to thrive. Our conference affiliation, that's the Bay Valley Conference or the Big 8. Those are considerations also. And then obviously staffing. We don't want to grow programs if we don't have the staffing, although we feel like right now we're probably in the best position we've ever been in our staffing in the athletic department, and obviously the impact on that existing staff. So, a couple of programs that are on the rise. Number 1 is women's flag football. Every high school that is large in the area has fielded a team in the fall of 25. There's a growing club and organization that uses our facility for ages 8 to 18 that is sponsoring flag football. There is NFL money for flag football. And in 2025, over 100 high schools in California fielded teams, and more to come in 2026. This is an emerging sport in the 3C2A. It's inexpensive. We have the facilities, we have the infrastructure, and it will bring us, I would imagine, between 12 and 20 women to participate if we were to go down that road. The other sport that we are looking at that we already have the infrastructure to bring on and can also serve our Hispanics male student athletes that we know that we would like to target as well, is men's soccer. The high schools thrive. Armio, Wilseywood, Vanden, all these programs all have thriving men's or boys soccer. The soccer clubs in the area are also thriving with Solano, Time's Up, Solano Surf, Vacaville United, Vallejo United, and as of 23-24, approximately 53,000 boys participated in high school soccer across California, according to CIF. So that number reflects a 4.6 increase. We know soccer's on the rise with all of the, international soccer and all of those programs that are really grabbing a lot of interest. Last slide. So this is a projection if we were to add two sports, the flag football and the men's soccer, and the numbers that we would see. As you would see, it would give us a 42% on the men's side and a 58%, as I mentioned before, that mirrors our student population when it comes to the first prong in Title IX. Grand total of 215 student athletes. So that's our vision. That's our plan for the future. And we'd love to field some questions, I think, right?
All right, thanks to both of you for your presentation and questions.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Since you're retiring, don't you think this might be a perfect opportunity to do a press release on all this information? Because I did not know any of this. And if I didn't know it, people in Solano don't know it. I think it's amazing that the GPAs are higher for student athletes than non-student athletes. I've heard that before. It's nice to see.
Sure.
Yep.
One. Second of all, is this stuff on our website?
Absolutely, on the athletics website.
Yeah?
Yes.
On the athletics website?
Athletics is Solano Athletics. It's got everything, all the moving
Including
on.
all the
Absolutely everything.
the student athletes that moved on to four-year college?
Absolutely.
Okay, I will stand corrected because I didn't see it. And I was like, that's brilliant.
Yes, Solano Athletics.
Excellent. I'll go and look again. And next question is, did I misunderstand or mishear? Students are required to be full-time to participate?
Correct.
Why? Why?
The
Collegiate
question
rules.
is a good question, but those are the state eligibility requirements that you have to be enrolled full time, at least a minimum of 12 units. Actually, it's a really great question because there is a movement right now that maybe we should have require, to be full time because we have thousands and thousands of students on campus-based units. Why couldn't they take those? The rules are very archaic, but everything is changed. It's kind of a slow-moving body, but I think you're right on. I think eventually that requirement will be loosened. Right now, it's still a pretty strict requirement.
Because my next point was, maybe we should make it mandatory since the GPA is better if you participate in sports. But thank you. Okay.
Yes.
About an article, but I also highly recommend that the article. Website for athletic what's going on with that department.
And I don't think I would have voted for your retirement if I had known.
What's that?
I don't think I would have voted for your retirement if I had known.
But I think it's still passing.
Can I just 10 seconds, because this really dear to my heart. I mean, as an athletic director, I couldn't have had a college and a leadership, and most of them are sitting right here. And obviously our previous CEO, President, Celia Esposito-Noy, who had the vision to fully fund athletics, and it was a long-term project. But, Celia, and then Susan, David, Sal has been great to work with. Elisa, okay. John, okay to work with. But there's no, I think the athletic department and as an athletic director, to have a college that is so unconditionally committed to its athletic department and is buying into the four pillars has been an incredibly wonderful experience. So I hope, and again, the board has been wonderful. We have been able to make some presentations in the past. I think athletics, on campus just can be a very vibrant community on your campus that you can be all proud of. So thank you very much. And
All right,
that's
thank
it.
you. Thanks,
I think there's another question.
Trustee Boyce?
Okay, great. I wanted to say, firstly, the hilariousness of you being timed. I think between you and Dr. DeClo, I think your inability to stay in time limits is a credit to your passion. So it's great. I do want to, say in the ways that we have any influence on our state things there. The parts that I find frustrating is the limits they put on, like Division I does with like how you can't recruit from certain high schools and stuff. And I think they misunderstand community college's role in the community to be able to be a partner to K-12 institutions and really give free tickets to students and do all these all these things that we could be doing. But it's any in any ways that we still have influence. And I know Celia was a big advocate serving on their board and trying to get them to kind of see that. So just any ways that we can keep eroding that that perception, that misunderstanding of what our role is.
If you follow intercollegiate athletics, around the country, everything is game right now. All the existing rules and regulations are being challenged by student athletes, parents, and coaches. And the CCA is a very slow-moving body, but I foresee in the next 3-4 years, many of the the recruiting rules, the eligibility rules, I think they all will kind of disappear because student athletes and parents are not going to put up with those. They're really archaic rules,
So Trustee Wingler?
Director Visser, first and foremost, I remember meeting you at the women's soccer banquet with VP Williams and Trustee Amber Cargill-Reed. I just want to say testament to your leadership, the fact that we have a lot of students who are graduating with high GPA. Thank you so much, very much for your leadership. We will miss you tremendously. I wish you were going to stay a little bit longer so that I would be able to reap the benefits of your leadership to see what you're going to do for them, our amazing students here. So just wanted to share that with you. And also, I'm a little bit partial to the women's soccer team only because I got a chance to meet a lot of those athletes that evening at their banquet. So thank you so much for your leadership and for both of your presentation tonight.
Thank you for your kind words.
Thanks very much. Thanks to both of you again. Congratulations to Eric on his retirement. So we're moving on now to information items of which we don't have any, and announcements and items from the board is the next item. Go ahead.
I have 2 points of celebration. One, she rejoined us, so I wanted to celebrate her again. So our former student trustee, Shreya Srinivasan, she's not going anywhere. She's going to be our president of our ASSC next year, and she'll be a senior in early college, so we'll still be hearing from her. But I just wanted to give her, a round of applause for her outstanding work. We've never had a student trustee be so legislatively active and able to advocate for students' needs and interests. So clearly and so eloquently. I mean, you're on the debate team, you rock that. So you speak better than I do on most things. So I just wanted to celebrate you and thank you again as we welcome our new student trustee. So thank you. The other point of celebration I wanted to mention is our former student trustee that many of us knew he was served as a student trustee for years. Lawrence or Larry Bartlow served as our student trustee for I don't know how long, like for a long time, longer than I've served on the board. And so, and he just finished, he graduated from here. He's a excellent example of, the role of community colleges because he came back to school as an older student, as a full-time caregiver, full-time worker. And so he took a little bit at a time. So he's been a student for a while, but, still chipping away. So the progress is progress, right? Like it's not, there's no race. And that's a different attitude than a lot of four-year colleges have. Like we help students every stage with everything that they're doing. So he's made a huge impact on anatomy at this campus too. I know every single anatomy student seeks him out in the academic success tutoring center because he helps. He's so clear on those things. So I just want to celebrate Larry if he's watching.
Thank you, trustee Boyce. With that, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Good meeting.